Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Lemmings, the No Pause Challenge. So we're up to taxing level 21, that means there's 40 levels left in the game, and I'm hoping to get through 20 in this video and 20 in the final video. So this is Feel the Heat. The challenge of this level is to make a path that with builders that will stop exactly over that exit in between the two flamethrowers. It's not as hard as you might think, because when the builder has reached the correct place, I can give him a basher. But I do also need to multitask there. Okay, he's in the right place now. Yep, I had to multitask another lemming to release the crowd because the time limit is rather tight. I seem to have done that pretty successfully. Okay, 22. This is one of my favourites. Come on over to my place. So, if you've played the DOS version of Lemmings, you might remember that this level was neutered a bit and didn't require 100% to be saved. So you could just set a blocker at the end of the first platform and take all the lemmings around the long way, just as you probably did on the fun version of the level. On the Amiga and other platforms that do require 100% on this level, it can be done more or less the same way, with freeing the blocker at the end, but when you actually play through the original game, you're not meant to know about freeing blockers yet by the time you get to this point. So I had to come up with a completely different solution, which I'm going to try to show off. It's quite tricky. So first lemming is a floater, and he'll mine down there. Second lemming will build over. No, didn't place the bridge correctly. The third one should not have fallen down. The third one is meant to dig and then bash here to lower the fall a little bit, while the first one builds a bridge down below for the other lemmings to land on. So there's a lot to keep track of all at once. Let's try to use not bad, but my bridge wasn't done in time. Let's just see how far. Yeah, that's just about. What I'm trying to say is I couldn't have built the bridge very much further forward, or it wouldn't have been. Oh dear. Okay, so let's try assigning other lemmings delay builders. Yep, that's worked. Oh, it felt so satisfying when I came up with that solution for the first time. And it's remained one of my favourite levels to this day just because of that feeling. Okay, King of the Castle, another of my favourites for completely different reasons. So this is a repeat of Tricky Level 8, the level that broke the trend of 20 of everything levels by having only builders and blockers. And its repeat is the same, but without the blockers, which is fine because I didn't use them the first time round anyway. We also have fewer builders than before, so I'm going to have to be a bit more careful. So this level is quite unpopular, I think, among many Lemmings fans just because of the amount of building, but I've always liked it because it's always seemed rather fun to me. Well, when I was younger, at any rate, I like to take this level slowly, and instead of increasing the release rate as I did, the Lemmings would all be milling about in very irregular groups. I don't know. That was always very satisfying to me. 3 builders left. That's no problem. There we go. Okay, take a running jump. It's another builders only level, but very different from the previous one. So first thing is getting across this gap. So we'll assign some delay builders. That should be good enough. I mean, if it isn't, I can always click on the leading lemming. Yeah, I think he needed it by 1 pixel. Then the lemming is going to go on this journey up here and fall down here. So I'm going to make a bridge below that fall to catch everyone. Then they've actually got to get up to the exit. So another lemming will turn around there and make the make a bridge here to get up. And then we're done. Now we're done. Oh no, I built in the wrong place. Okay, we were not done. How far off was that? Okay, so if I start building at the foot of this rock formation. Oh, and now you actually get to watch the lemming fireworks, which I kind of missed the opportunity to show off in my previous video. Okay. Yeah, it just shows it's been a long time since I played many of these levels. There is a level pack that the Lemmings Forums community, have put together called Lemmings Redux, that's basically a compilation of selected levels from the original games. And I have played that quite a bit, but it's been a long time since I played most of the levels that were not included in that pack. Anyway, follow the leader. So this is the repeat of Fun 19, the one level in the Fun rank that I messed up in my first video. So we're going to see whether I can redeem myself. So here we only have bashers and builders and bombers, but I'm not going to use them because I'm trying to save 100%. So while those two are bashing opposite ways, Mr. Leader is going to start building towards the exit. After I give him his next bridge, I'll stop the 2 bashers. Okay, now. So making that tunnel as wide as possible obviously makes it easier to select a... Well, I don't think I would have had much problem anyway. I made it much wider than necessary. But makes it easier to select a lemming going the correct direction for bashing out. And there we go. Everyone has been saved. So, I think a lot of people were waiting for this one. Oh dear, Triple Trouble. It is one of the most infamous difficulty spikes in the entire game. A lot of people say this should not be here. It should be in the last rank. Let's see how we get on with it. So we've got 3 hatches, but I can ignore the bottom 2 for a while. Make the digger there, and he gets deep enough to trap the lemming behind him. Now, it's about time I started a lemming from this side going up and building. So what's going to have to happen... If I just keep on building, then he's going to hit his head. So what I want to happen, and this is going to be pretty hard to pull off, is for the builder and miner to meet each other. You can see the timing's completely wrong here. It doesn't actually matter on this side. Okay. I think it matters more on the left side because of the jagged terrain here under the exit there. So I'm just going to put the release rate up and let everyone go to the exit from these 2 hatches. Oh, not quite, because they can't get past that. And then we'll work with the last lemming. So at some point, let's just guess now, he's going to have to climb up. And one of these is going to bash under the exit. And again, I kind of want these 2 to reach the critical point at the same time. If it doesn't quite work out, which is not going to, okay, maybe... Oh no! Oh, that was so close. Maybe making that little dip there has meant that this builder is able to connect there, yes, without hitting his head. Okay, and I have 2 builders left. Got to make them count. So you've got to get up to the exit, and one from this crowd has to build them to safety. So this is obviously one of those levels where the difficulty of selecting a lemming facing the correct direction really comes into play. Now, I did use directional select, which means holding down, for me it's the left and right arrow keys, will ensure that I get a lemming going the correct direction. And I think that, again, that's a legitimate feature to use because it was on many of the original, of the versions of the original game, including, I think, Windows Lemmings. But not all. So original Amiga Lemmings didn't have it. Macintosh, which I grew up with, did not have it. So on those versions, it could be very frustrating trying to release the crowd at the end. Anyway, calling the bomb squad. There should be a lot more weird decorative terrain at the sides of this level. It's been trimmed off for some reason. I do not agree with that. But this is a pretty unique level. We've got to dig upwards. Fortunately, we don't have to, even on the original game, don't have to do any timed bomber nonsense because we have enough blockers to steady the bombers. But on NeoLemmix, I don't even need the blockers. I do have to be careful, though. I must make sure that the tunnel does not end up dropping lemmings beyond the blocker on the platform below. Oh dear, I assigned a bomber there where I meant to assign builder. Should be okay, though, and I think we're just about done. Although you saw how close they got to that blocker. Yep, everyone's able to go up. There is also a route where you bomb a crater here and then build from lower down, and if you stretch the bridges you can just get beyond the wall block here and then just walk over the top. That saves all but 3. Poor wee creatures. Okay, this is a great level. So this is one of the few levels where the hatch is way, way above the ground. So we can afford to lose 30 lemmings, but the idea is we've got to build a landing platform, and there's kind of a mini time limit in that we've got to build it before 30 lemmings have fallen to their deaths. Now, it is possible to do it entirely by building up from ground level, and that is how I used to do it, or that's the solution I first discovered when I played the original game. There is an easier way that also saves more lemmings by mining down here, and if I build from where he stops mining... Oh, I think I may have mined a little bit too late for this. But it is just possible for the bridge to start catching the lemmings from their spawn point. So I'll need to stretch it when he runs out of bricks. And that might be... No. Oh, well. So either I mined slightly too late, very slightly, or I didn't stretch the bridge enough, because that could have been stretched slightly more, but it is possible to do that way. And we're going to have another attempt at it right now. I don't know if this is intended. I don't think it is. There is another solution that, as well as the build up from below solution, but there's another solution where you... Oh, I mined too early. Where you send the worker lemming up... over this platform and build a landing stage from the left-hand side. Yeah, we've lost him. There's even a fourth solution which only works on the original game, not NeoLemmix. It involves what's called the stuck climber glitch. That time I waited too late, didn't I? Yes. Okay, this is taking quite a lot of resets because I have to do a precision move, but you know, it's expected of the no pause playthrough that some levels would be like this. I think I've got it wrong again. Oh, that might just be good enough. But yeah, if you do a basher and then interrupt him with a builder so that he leaves a little step, and then get the lemming inside that step and build so that he completely seals himself inside the wall, that's good enough. Then you can, and then make him a climber when he's stuck inside the wall. On the original game, again, this glitch does not work in NeoLemmix, but he will actually go up inside the pillar more rapidly than a climber would normally ascend, and that is how you save the maximum possible. So I'm going to make these two lemmings builders here inside the crystal to turn themselves around and give the leader quite a bit of space because he has a trap to build over. There we go. How do I dig up the way? So this one is... it's notorious just for being ridiculously easy for a taxing level. I'm not going to say... yeah, I can try saving 100% just for fun. So it's a repeat of a tricky level. The only difference being that we have only 5 builders, but you don't need that many builders if you take a solution that involves climbing up and mining down. So they presumably expected players to solve the original tricky level by building up from the bottom, which is perfectly possible. And then they thought it would be really hard for people to come up with this trick of reverse mining without having seen it before. I think they underestimated the ingenuity of players. It is not that difficult to work this out, nor is it at all difficult to execute. So, last level of taxing. We all fall down. Well, it had to be repeated once in the rank, so I'm going to try doing the same thing again, assigning my diggers left to right. I'm only going to try this once, because now that there's 60 of them, this might be a bit too tight without pausing. I'm just hoping... No, I did lose a couple of lemmings. I was just hoping that all the ones that kind of stood up in the middle of the digging crowds would find their way to falling through a half-dug hole, but no. Everyone has to survive. That's why this level is hard. Okay, so I'm going to try a different thing. I'm going to try setting the release rate to 78 is just a guess. So if this doesn't work out, we'll see what does work. But yeah, and then no. So what was it? 78? So the idea is if I make two diggers close together, then at that release rate, the third lemming will walk over their steps. Then not only does that save on the diggers, but it gets the level done faster, which is good because the taxing and mayhem repeats of this do not give enough time for you to do the level at its original release rate. Now there is another magic release rate I could have found that would let, so it would be a bit slower, but it would let each lemming go into the pit of the one after him, and then I'd be using half the diggers instead of 2/3. But I think this is not a problem for me, really. Okay. So, with the taxing rank done, we move on to Mayhem, which begins with Steelworks, a colossus of a level. So, as I've said before, on the original game, the first level of each rank was unlocked from the start. So, even when you were just beginning as a player, you could have a look at this level and see, this is what they're going to expect you to be able to pull off later in the game. There's a trick to it, which I'm not afraid of abusing. So that hatch is splat height, but it's only splat height by 1 pixel. So I forgot about the skill queuing feature, and this is one instance where I really don't want it to be present because it's causing me to waste skills. Another feature I can use here is holding down the Option key when I assign skills. Option is my choice of hotkey for it, but it's a walkers only select, so that ensured I would get another lemming to dig through the bridge and not reselect the builder for his own. Now, the last part of the level is getting up here with a limited number of builders. I don't remember it, and this is why I was so okay, that's good enough to get up to here. Yeah, that's why I was so perturbed when I lost a builder due to the skill queuing, because You know, can't afford to waste skills here, so I'm going to try doing that. Yep, that's good enough. Ooh, okay, I was wondering, have I just thrown everything away in the last second? But no, I made another builder under the existing bridge, and that's good enough for everyone to get to the exit, just about. I ended up using all my builders, so you do not get very much room for error. Whew. Oh, and I solved it in exactly 6 minutes. Nice. Okay, the boiler room. This is... Once I finally got up to this level, I was shocked again. This also looked impossible for a long time. Because how do you get into that Fort Knox? Steel on one side, a flamethrower on the other? There is a way. I didn't mean to let the lemming fall down here, but now that he's down here, it doesn't really matter. I have plenty of builders. So we're going to aim for that thin platform there. By repeatedly assigning builder, you can get through. Now, oh, he's not able to get up there anymore, though. All that just so he could be blown to smithereens. But then we send out the rest of the lemmings. And now that there's a gap, they'll be able to get up there. On some versions of Lemmings, this level is, believe it or not, possible to 100%. Definitely not on NeoLemmix because it requires a glitch. There is a glitch called sliding that, under the correct circumstances, allows lemmings to slide straight up through solid terrain. It is one of the most niche gimmicks in Lemmings. I've never been able to pull it off, but it can be done. So, it's hero time. This is a classic because it has one of every skill. That feature was seized on and became extremely popular, and I'm already have no idea what I'm doing. Okay. You can dig. So I'm going to try doing something similar to what I did when I solved the fun version of the level. The only thing is, I'm not actually sure this finishes in time on NeoLemmix. So different versions of the game have different clock speeds, or lemming walking speeds relative to the clock if you prefer. Comes to the same thing. But the point is that solutions that finish in time on some versions of the game don't always finish in time on all versions. Are we okay? It's going to be very tight. No. No? Oh, so close. You could actually see the last lemming entering, but it didn't count. Okay, so that solution won't work at all on NeoLemmix. There's no way to speed it up because the deciding factor was the last lemming's journey time. Now, I could have made the last lemming the climber and floater, then I'd have saved 29, which is still not enough. So we're going to have to do something different. Oh dear. Well, that would have been it, except that, like a silly person, I assigned the builder in the middle of the bash stroke, which made a step. There are many occasions when I've used that deliberately, but this was one occasion when I did not want it to happen. Let's try that again. Oh dear, 2 of them have gone on ahead. No, I can't think of anything I can do if 2 of them go on ahead. So now none of them have, which is equally bad, I think. It might be okay if I can make the basher dig if he's far enough ahead to build over the trap now. But even then, I'm not sure they would all make it in time. This is another solution that does work on some versions of the game, but might not finish in time. Oh, I think it will. So yeah, another reason this level is a classic is it has so many more solutions than you would think at first sight. Okay, the Crossroads. So this is... I mentioned this when I did its fun repeat. I essentially solved that one the same way I'm going to try to solve this now. So I did manage to beat the fun version with just 10 bashes. This version requires it. Let's see how we do. Done. Down, along, up in that order. Now this is one of the levels I was thinking might give me problems. Oh, come on, be a floater, thank you. I've made them too close together. Much too close. Oh dear. So yeah, this is Fun 28, if only they could fly. But yeah, other lemming went past while the bridge was in progress. But you only have 5 builders. And you may or may not remember, but when I did If Only They Could Fly, I built from here to the exit. And that takes 6. So the only way to do this is by going up these steps. But if you think about what a builder bridge is shaped like, and the fact that you can't vary it at all, you might realise that there's a little problem. And that's what we're going to try to solve. So first I'll make a blocker. And now when I assign the builder, if I do this at the correct point, the bridge will actually bounce off the blocker. So he turns round mid-bridge, keeps on building, and the other lemmings will be able to walk up that. Then it's just a matter of assigning another blocker edge, rinse and repeat. Of course, I do have to get everyone down from here if I'm going to continue this solution, because I don't have any more climbers and floaters. I also need to assign a blocker there. Yeah, I only lost 1. So, we only have to save 60, but we may be losing a lot, given how tightly packed they are. And obviously the builders have to be assigned pretty precisely for the turnaround trick to work. Yep, just made it. One last builder. And then we'll see how many lemmings are in that tightly packed bunch. Just enough. So, not as big a problem as I thought. Okay, one way or another, as I promised when I did the tricky version of this level, On its Mayhem Repeat, I'm going to the right. That was a wasted builder, pity. So was that. Even more pity. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. I thought I had... I see. Okay, I'm just going to start again. So I used the walker only select to make another lemming behind the builder, cut him off with a miner. But what I didn't anticipate was that the builder would turn around on some of the existing builder bricks. So that's what I did in that solution attempt. Okay, once he's got out here, it's fairly straightforward. Just going to dig and mine through this terrain, build over the gaps. There's plenty of time to get everyone home. So I'm not quite sure why it is that when I played the original game, I was under the impression that you could only do this level, the Mayhem Repeat. But on the left-hand side, probably I got scared by the 100% save requirement, although, as you can see, it's fairly easy to meet that just by cutting through the builder's bridge so that everyone stays locked up. Poles apart. I like this one. So we have all these. Well, I was hoping to show off saving 100%, but it didn't work out. Actually, let's have one more try. So you have these 7 poles to get through, but you've only got 4 bashers. Naturally, that means that diggers will be involved for some of them, although I'm just going to build over the first one. And here's a rather precise assignment. I think I need to assign this digger just before he falls off, so that when I'm not quite sure how. No, I think that might be pixel perfect. I have to assign the digger just before he falls off the pillar, so that he's digging down on the far right. And when I turn him to a builder, he will just get across that gap, because of course I need my other builder for releasing the crowd. Last one out is a rotten egg, so this is a fairly nice one. I think it's just a bit refreshing, because this one is not a repeat of an earlier level. If you do the maths, you'll find that Lemmings has, in total in its 120 levels, it is exactly evenly split. There are 40 unique levels, 40 levels with repeats, and 40 levels that are their repeats. Ooh, that's a bit dicey. I just noticed on the skill shadow that he's a little bit low, so if I let him continue mining, he'd actually mine all the way through. the builder bridge, and everyone following him would plummet into the abyss. Don't want that to happen. But there we are. So, Curse of the Pharaohs. Now, it is possible to save 100% here, but I think this is one where I probably will not. I got into a real mess on the fun version of this level. Built from about here and had to do some weird nonsense. So instead, oh dear, well, there I've made the bridge from too far back. Okay, they're able to get up there, but I've only got 8 builders to do this zigzag bridge at the end, and now I haven't got anyone to release that blocker even if I wanted to. So that bridge came just short, which is not ideal. Okay, well, oh, you know what? Oh no, I was going to say, since I have 4 builders left over, I can maybe... I don't even have a climber to get a lemming back up here. But yeah, with that, if I had had one of the last lemmings dig and then bash under the blocker to release him and then build so that he didn't bash himself into the water, then I could have saved everyone. But I didn't. Actually, I couldn't even have done that because I had no bashers left over. So it is possible to save everyone. I just can't remember exactly how it's done right now. So, last level for today's video, Pillars of Hercules. It's another splat fall from the trapdoor level. This time we can lose 25. There's quite a few ways to go about this. I'm just going to take the boring build-up from the floor solution. Oops. I didn't realise he was going to run out of bricks and shrug before hitting the wall. I thought he would hit the wall and immediately... and I've done it again. I get enough builders on this that I'm not that worried. Okay, that time I waited for him to turn around before assigning builder. So he'll be fine in terms of getting up there. The other lemmings are surviving the fall now. So you might notice that the user interface on NeoLemmix is a bit different from the original game. So instead of displaying... the original game had in and out. So in was number of lemmings you've already saved. Out was number of lemmings that are on the level at the moment. Those are not very useful statistics, so NeoLemmix changes it. First number is number that is still in the hatch. Second is number of lemmings that are alive or potentially alive. So it's the total of lemmings still in the hatch and lemmings on screen. And third is how far you are below the save requirement. So I could see that. So at the moment, 61 lemmings exist. I have to save 49 of them because the save requirement is 50 and I already saved 1. So comparing those two numbers, I can see that I have got enough. Whew. Okay, so got through 20 levels. None of this bunch felt that special for a no pause challenge, but there are some quite special ones coming up next time when we try to get through the remaining 20 levels and beat the entire game. So, hope you've enjoyed this, and thank you for watching, and see you for the last 20 levels of Mayhem.